Thank you for being here. With the New York Times reporting that the DOJ closed an investigation into the president's border czar, Tom Homan, after he allegedly accepted a bag of cash from undercover FBI agents. Now, it should say the FBI director and the deputy attorney general say they found no evidence of wrongdoing. You're a member of the House Oversight Committee. Are you going to try to get information about the investigation?
This is absolutely something that not only oversight but judiciary should look into, and I sit as the ranking member on the subcommittee for judiciary that is oversight. So this is something that me and my team are definitely going to look into, and hopefully the chairman of that subcommittee is interested in finding out what the truth is, because that is what we are really supposed to do. We are not supposed to figure out who is best friends with the president, and if they are closely aligned with him, then just ignore things while trying to make up things about political opposition.
Well, on that note, I do want to turn to something that you heard the senator just say, which is he was talking about a resolution that came before the House this past week honoring Charlie Kirk. And there were 58 Democrats who voted against it. You were one.
Yeah.
Why?
Absolutely. You know what? One of the things I do want to point out that's not been laid out that honestly hurts my heart is when I saw the no votes, there were only 2 Caucasians. For the most part, the only people that voted no were people of color, because the rhetoric that Charlie Kirk continuously put out there was rhetoric that specifically targeted people of color. And so it is unfortunate that even our colleagues could not see how harmful his rhetoric was specifically to us. And I can tell you that a month prior to him passing away, he had actually gotten out on his podcast. I wasn't aware of this at the time, but he got out there and he was talking negatively about me directly. So if there was any way that I was going to honor somebody who decided that they were just going to negatively talk about me and proclaim that I was somehow involved in the great white replacement, yeah, I'm not honoring that kind of stuff, especially as a civil rights attorney, and understanding how I got to Congress, knowing that there were people that died, people that were willing to die, that worked to make sure that voices like mine could exist in this place. So to me, just like we wanted to make sure that those Confederate relics were taken down, the idea of a new age relic being propped up was something that I just could not subscribe to. And it is unfortunate that more of my colleagues, even on my side of the aisle, could not see the amount of harm that this man was attempting to inflict upon our communities.
So meanwhile, you obviously feel very strongly about the rhetoric that Charlie Kirk used, that you find objectionable, and also from others in the M.A.G.A movement. As the memorial service for him is going to happen later today, there is a debate over heated rhetoric on all sides. And
listen, whether it's heated or not, the fact is Charlie Kirk should still be here. It should not have been that there was political violence that resulted because of the words that were coming out of his mouth, just like plenty of M.A.G.A hates when I mention white supremacy, which kind of tells you where M.A.G.A stands. But nevertheless, they get very upset when I talk about white supremacy. But that doesn't mean that somebody should then try to find a bullet or try to find a knife and harm me. Not in America. That's not who we are supposed to be.
Well, let me ask you, because I do want to play a couple of statements that you made earlier this year.
Okay. Unfortunately, we have someone that is occupying the White House, and as far as I'm concerned, he is an enemy to the United States. They want to show that they are loyal to this, I don't even know what to call him. I've called him so many things, but this wannabe Hitler for sure.
And to be clear, the president has attacked, other people have attacked you in his orbit, maybe not him personally. But do you have a responsibility as an elected official not to raise the temperature, but rather lower the temperature, particularly when there are people out there who listen to elected officials all over the place who are not well, who use that as a way to instigate the political violence that you are calling out?
I think that my responsibility is to be transparent and to be honest. And the reality is that we are living in a time in which this administration and this regime is not interested in making sure that people understand history. We need to understand why they are so problematic. And so I am using that language because it is accurate language. When we see the consolidation of power, when we see them trying to chill speech of jokesters, when we're seeing all of this, that is a playbook out of Hitler, and I won't deny it. Like, these are the facts. But one of the things that I've never done that the president has done consistently is called specifically for violence. He has said, oh, beat that one up. He has said those types of things. We know that Charlie Kirk was saying things about who should live and who should die. I have never said those kinds of things. And I think that those things are the ones that are really, really dangerous. And even still, some of that will still be protected. We know that we still have laws that are on the book that certain speech is not protected, that it does cross over when you are inciting violence, such as what we saw on January 6th, when you are doing what we consider to be a terroristic threat of some sort, where it's a matter of, I'm not just saying it, but I have the apparent ability to carry that out. But me laying out historical facts, just like they don't want to talk about the fact that slavery was real in this country and that my people were enslaved and dragged and raped and abused, and they don't want to account for any of that. They don't believe in reparations. No, I think it is okay for me to understand history and communicate in a very clear way about why we should feel as if there is a concern. And when we swear an oath, which is what that first clip was, we swear an oath to the Constitution to protect against all enemies, foreign and domestic. And so if there is someone that is evidencing themselves, such as the president, who is going out and says, yes, I will take a $400 million plane from a foreign government, or is engaged in receiving crypto that we cannot track in exchange for, say, giving away chips to Saudi Arabia. No, we absolutely need to understand how these things could cause us harm. Or when he's cozying up to somebody like Vladimir Putin, it's not only a problem for us, but it's a problem for our allies. When you have somebody like Poland that is like, yeah, this is what Russia's up to, and the president is like, oh, that may have just been a mistake. We need to understand what all his business dealings are, even with Russia, because that has the potential of putting us in harm's way.
Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, thank you so much for being here. Nice to see you.
Good to see you too.
Hello, I'm Ted King, and you're watching another episode of the most dangerous combat sport in the world, American politics. Today, we'll be taking a look at the CNN program with Abby Phillips, talking to a Turning Point, Turning Point Advocates, which is part of the Charlie Kirk program or ideology or whatever you want to call it. But it's affiliate of the late Charlie Kirk. And we have Hogan, Gidley, and Brad Todd going to be discussing their ideologies regarding their fallen comrade and their Turning Point movement that they're implementing, starting in, I guess the inception of it is in Oklahoma. And they're going to try to spread this throughout the United States of America in hopes of doing what they do. Let's take a look.
You said that they are only getting these jobs because of their race or gender.
That's not what I said.
And not because they are qualified.
Not
so
what
are
I
they
said.
qualified or not?
That's not what I said.
Are they qualified or not?
The obvious playbook on how not to address the issue. Let's continue watching this debate on CNN Newsnight with Gabby Phillip. And I'll be back to give my thoughts on this as well.
Oklahoma tonight says it will require a Turning Point chapter at every high school in the state. That, of course, is the group that Charlie Kirk founded. The state superintendent, who you might be familiar with because he's no stranger to controversy, says that it's a move that's designed to fight the left.
We have seen the outpouring from parents, teachers, and students that want to be engaged in a meaningful work going on at Turning Point. For far too long, we have seen radical leftists with the teachers union dominate classrooms and push woke indoctrination on our kids. What we're going to continue to do is make sure that our kids understand American greatness, engage in civic dialogue, and have that open discussion. We will continue to do all that we can to make sure Oklahoma students have the best education possible.
And if that's not enough, here's what he wrote in a letter to parents. Whether your child attends a public school, private school, or is homeschooled, they now have the tools to start a chapter, make their voices heard. Our kids must get involved and active. Our fight starts now. Sochi, I don't even know where to begin, but this is real. This is actually happening in America.
Yeah, and it's scary. I mean, what happened to Charlie Kirk was a tragedy. And I actually take offense saying that the left wasn't speaking out, because I did, and so did a lot of other people, and Democrats did speak out that day and the days after. But I do not think that we should be forcing ideology on our children, especially in public schools. After the shooting of Gabby Giffords, we were not forcing ideology in Arizona about guns. You know, after Minnesota state legislator was killed and her husband was killed in their home by an anti-abortion activist, we weren't going into Minnesota schools and trying to promote abortion in those schools. So there are things that happen, and there are ways to honor Charlie Kirk's legacy. And I honestly think the best way to do that was what Erica Kirk was saying, was respect for the First Amendment, was things that Charlie lived by. This is not the respect for our public institutions and for First Amendment. This is forcing an ideology into our schools that I think is unacceptable.
Hogan?
Okay. Oklahoma itself, obviously a very conservative place. All 77 counties went for Donald Trump. They most likely will embrace at least parts of this. In the wake of Charlie Kirk's death, I think it can't be overstated the importance, the impact he's had on youth across this country. While I'm well aware that the left is going to be quite upset that students dare hear a different side of an issue as opposed to the leftist indoctrination they've been getting now in public schools for decades, thanks to the teachers' unions, this is a fight that they will have at the local level, undoubtedly. I would imagine, just for the sheer balance of the whole thing, this will end up being just fine. And I think students that want to opt in will opt in. Students that won't want to opt in won't opt in, and they'll do their own thing. But there are plenty of places to have robust, open, honest debate. Starting them in high school is a great place for that to begin.
Can I just say, Hogan, just to boil things down, first of all, do you agree or disagree with the decision to force every high school in Oklahoma to have a Turning Points USA chapter?
Well, it depends on what they already forced them to do now.
Okay, so unless they're forcing them to have a Democrats, of America chapter, I'm not aware of any mandate anywhere in this country to have a political organization on campus. You're okay with that?
Again, at the local level, I am. Whatever they decide to do, they can do. That's what the beauty of this republic is.
They're not deciding. Local jurisdictions aren't deciding. It is the state that is deciding for schools. And to be honest with you, I also take offense to this lefty ideology something. Teachers are underpaid. They are doing the best job that they can do.
That's a non sequitur and has nothing to do with anything.
Yes, it does.
No, it
you were
doesn't.
attacking
My mother
teachers.
was a public school teacher.
You were just saying
life.
leftist ideology coming from the teachers. The statement says
the teachers' unions, absolutely.
We just have to look at the teachers' unions' manifestos to see their
100%.
I'll answer your question. I don't think the state should mandate that there should be chapters of this or any other organization at schools. However, I do think local school boards should not be able to block it. Right now, first off, the organization is called Club America. That's the high school group. Their purpose is to promote free thinking and engage in grassroots activism. That's pretty good. It's a 501c3. It's a nonpartisan group. But, we see a lot of places where high schools are blocking organizations like the junior ROTC from coming in. We shouldn't have that either. Students should be able to organize in these good patriotic groups in their own schools, and where they can learn things and organize optionally.
I agree with that. I'm not aware. I don't know what the deal is with schools blocking ROTC, but I'm also not aware of any schools blocking the creation of Turning Point chapters. I mean, it's just if students want to create a chapter, they can. Why on earth is the state getting involved and saying?
Mississippi, there's a contract right now that they may have tried to block a creation of.
Okay, well, we'll look at.
The school board, the local education association.
Well, look.
That's in the press in Mississippi.
I mean, look, look, let me read this line again. Our kids must get involved and active. Our fight starts now. What fight? I mean, what is he talking about?
Look, I was a public school teacher. I started my professional career teaching in public schools. Nowhere have I ever seen anything like this taking place short of what happened post-Civil War. What is going on in this country today is exactly what went on after Reconstruction in this country. And that is what is being attempted here. On January 6th, I knew exactly what was taking place. And I started writing a book about it that is going to be released on November 11th. Now, you probably ain't going to like the book because it's factual.
Will you sign it if I buy one?
Yeah, it's a factual book. It goes into exactly what was happening on January 6th. It goes into exactly what Project 2025 is all about. Read the part on Project 2025 on education and see what's there. It is exactly what they're doing in Oklahoma today. And they're getting their instructions from somewhere up here, and this superintendent is carrying them out.
The Ryan Walters, I mean, he's been quite a character this year. He's also been investigating Oklahoma school districts for allegedly not honoring Charlie Kirk's death. I guess some of what's my question is about all of this is, are we just, or not we, are conservatives just suddenly okay with a state superintendent or anybody dictating how people should feel, what schools should honor, what clubs should exist, what clubs should not? I mean, is that just part of the
you have
ideology
one elected
now?
official who is responsive to the primary voters of one state here. So let's don't put Ryan Walters' opinion onto everybody else. I'll tell you one thing we do know, though, is that when Melissa Hortman, the Speaker of the Minnesota legislature, was shot, there was a commemorative resolution in the Congress, and every Republican voted for it.
Right.
When Charlie Kirk was assassinated for his political beliefs, there were 58 Democrats who would not vote for a resolution to honor him. So
And I was one of them.
Why do you think it was?
I don't mind honoring anybody's life. I've got a problem with their legacy. And I know what the legacy of Kirk was. When I turn on my TV and I see someone telling me what an awful person Martin Luther King Jr. was, when I see somebody telling me if I get on an airplane and there's a black pilot, I begin to wonder, is he qualified? What does that mean? Those are the words that came out of his mouth.
That's not what he said. And
that is exactly what he said. I got the exact quote.
It's not in context at all what he was talking about. It was a conversation about affirmative action. You know that, Congressman. This has been well litigated and well debated.
Everything about black people is about affirmative action. And so what's wrong with affirmative action?
No.
Look, you're telling me that when I came out of college and couldn't get a job, that was because I was not qualified?
That's not what I'm saying.
Well, what are you saying?
What I'm saying is Charlie Kirk was very clear. If these companies openly say that they have to somehow fill a quota of people, whether it be a race or gender, not based on merit, but based on their race or gender, the obvious should be clear to everyone, which is that person then qualified?
So
that's an obvious question. Because of the bar that the corporation itself set up by saying publicly, we're going to do this type of DEI hiring, then you have to wonder, is it because of their race or their gender?
Can I just that's not what it is.
Hold on a second. That's not what it is. Hogan, why would you have to wonder? Yeah, I mean, why would you have to wonder that? Yeah. The only reason you would wonder that is if you're inclined to believe that nobody can be qualified if they are black and brown going into those roles. But here's one other thing that I think is just a factual dispute with what you're describing. You're suggesting that the standards are lower for people of color filling these roles when there is absolutely
the exact opposite.
No evidence.
The exact opposite.
No, but that's what you said.
It isn't.
Hold on, Hogan. You said that they are only getting these jobs because of their race or gender.
That's not what I said.
And not because they are qualified. So are they qualified or not?
That's not what I said.
Are they qualified or not?
What I said was
hold on, Hogan, is a pilot sitting on an airplane, flying a plane, whether he's black or white or a woman or gay or lesbian, are they If they are sitting in that seat and they meet the FAA requirements for being in that seat, are they qualified?
If they are qualified, I sure hope so.
Are they? But you don't believe that they're qualified
because of what?
That's not what I said.
What I said was, if the criteria was their race or gender, then how am I to know
that's
if the
why
qualification
I'm telling you, Hogan,
is there?
That
we
is
had a president of the United States.
Error that
we
you
had
are
a president of the United States,
Hogan, I don't want
Biden,
you to
who came out and said
Hogan, you're changing,
he wanted
listen, I don't want you to change the subject because you are making
to be the vice president. So when I noticed that's what he said, that's not my fault. Joe Biden said it.
You were in the White House when Donald Trump said he was going to put a woman on the Supreme Court, and then he picked Amy Coney Barrett. Is she not qualified?
She is extremely qualified.
Okay, so why is she qualified, but Ketanji Brown Jackson is not?
He talked about the qualification as well. What I'm saying is, in that clear directive from Joe Biden, in the clear directive from those companies, they are saying we are filling the quota.
Let me ask.
They're not even saying filling the quota.
I'm going to ask you again because I think you
qualified.
have another opportunity to really think this through.
Donald
Trump said, "I am going to pick a woman to go on the Supreme Court." Oh, you know what? Let me give you another one.
So should he not have
George
done that?
George H.W. Bush said, "I am going to pick I'm going to pick a black man to fill a role on the Supreme Court." Are those people unqualified?
I want always the most qualified people to hold those jobs.
Are they qualified or not?
It depends on their qualification.
It wasn't a quota or not?
It's always a quota when you base it on race or gender. If you base it on qualification, if the person is hired as black or a woman or whatever, it doesn't matter. That's
Let me just ask you a direct question.
It's the ultimate meritocracy.
Is it okay for Donald Trump to have DEI quotas or not?
It's not okay for anyone to have DEI quotas.
So then why did he have a DEI quota, by your definition, for Amy Coney Barrett?
He didn't. He said that was one of the selections. People said he should fill it with a woman.
Okay. He said he was going to fill it with a woman, and he did.
He did not only interview women for the job.
Correct.
Okay.
This all started when we were talking about
I got 12 of his quotes right here.
Whether or not Democrats should have voted to honor Charlie Kirk's life. And Congressman, I respect you. You are a living legend. I deeply respect your motives. However, I think that this is a question of whether we honor people who gave their life to public service. I didn't agree with Charlie Kirk on everything.
Okay.
But he gave his life to public service.
I'll let you have the last word on this. Go ahead.
But let me just say this. His life is one thing. His legacy is another. Now, I honor everybody's life. But when you tell me that was the versatile hire, when you tell me you're going to give thought to whether or not a black pilot is qualified, something else is going on in your head, and that's a legacy that I will never vote to honor. So if they had taken legacy off, which we asked them to do, and just honor his life, you got my vote. But his legacy, I know what my fathers inherited from the legacy of the South.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for that discussion.
So now let's put this Make America Great Again, MAGA theory in its proper perspective, right? Okay, so the first pilgrims to come over here in America was in the 1600s, and they brought over the Bible, and the Bible was not the King James Version, which is in most households today. I believe it was called the Genevieve Bible. I'll correct myself if I'm wrong on that. And then in the, I believe in 1617, the first slave ships came over with the Africans, enslaved Africans. And so they knew about the book before they brought the enslaved Africans here. And they know exactly what it says and how it's said. So that's my perspective on this whole understanding about, when you start indoctrinating certain things, you have to tell the truth. And of course, most every Bible is in the households of these evangelical Christians, which I believe this is what these guys are talking about. Now, I don't know that for a fact. I'm only making speculation on basically on the fact that they're talking about the biblical Christianity And so based on that, they need to understand what the excerpts at the end of this video is saying. With that being said, I'm Ted King. Thanks for tuning in to the most dangerous sport in the world, American politics. And oh, by the way, if you want some more information, watch our newest series, which is Kings and Priests, Biblical Agreements and Discords. Every Sunday, live at 2 o'clock p.m. Pacific Time. Thanks again. I'm Ted King.
Look, boys and girls, the only reason there are white people is because black people came here first. And they faded as they moved farther and farther north from the equator. Their melanin faded so that their skin, their hair, and their eyes got lighter. Their brains didn't get smaller, but their skin, their hair, and their eyes got lighter. That's the only reason you children can call yourselves white. And you aren't white. We are all shades of brown.
Subscribe to the channel.